Heavenly Father, Lord, I am but a humble servant, walking in line with my purpose for existing. Forgive me of those sins I might have committed knowingly and unknowingly. And as I start this day, grant me the promises and blessings to fulfill my essence. All these I ask for humbly by your grace. Amen. And I'm going to bring this down just a little bit so we see each other's faces and all that. Well, first things first. It's not sounding like me. Okay. But I say first things first. I want to always appreciate the giver of life in all things that I do, especially in the morning hour. I want to appreciate each and every time that I can be able to do this and I can be able to come around and fulfill my own calling, and which is sensitizing y'all, you all, as the case may be, and sensitizing you in my own way. And it's not by my doing; it's always by the grace that's been granted to me, and that I just want to spread around. My name is Akinloye, and this is Cradle Radio. And I say this in the morning. It's always a pleasure coming here. It's always a pleasure doing this. I love doing this. It's Radio Land. I call it Radio Land because of the fact that I kind of love radio. And this day and age, radio is interwoven with the visual aspect of it, which probably people call TV. And so TV, radio, it's all together right now. There's no line in between it. It's so blurry when you try to just figure out which one is which. And this is the way we go about it. This is Cradle Radio. Cradle Radio is a radio station that allows you to be able to hear things coming out of Africa. All right, out of Africa. It says, I got a couple of emails a while ago stating, okay, what about if we want to listen to some other song? I'll say, respectfully, there are other radio stations that cater for that. But the philosophy of Cradle Radio is to showcase Africa in its entirety to the world. And I believe we want to do justice to that. We don't segregate. It's not like having to, they only do African stuff. It's just a philosophy. It's a program philosophy into showcasing Africa to the world, mainly because Africa don't get the needed representation in the media space, whether you like it or not. And Africa is not just about those guys dancing for you on TikTok. Africa is not just about people just, doing otherwise, being a clown for you, right? We take things seriously as well. We're serious people. And in a way, we want to propagate and showcase what we stand for outside there. And we can't but just do enough of trying to push it out to the world, all our ideas, all our cultural values, or our educational values as well. Because forget the fact that everybody listens to a formal education. There was education, and there is still education that coming out of Africa that's totally different from the westernized form of education. Believe that. My name is Akinloye, and every time I wake up in the morning, I'm just glad, man. I'm glad to being able to do this and to being able to afford that gesture of coming and being allowed, especially by fans. Also, I want to thank everybody now that's been a part of this. I want to thank everybody that's continually supporting the Facebook page and the YouTube page and or basically all social media pages that belongs to Cradle Radio. And I can't but just thank you enough. I really, really want to show my gratitude that way. I love that aspect. I'm feeling everything. It's surreal for me, and for the operators of Cradle Radio as well, the team and everybody. And one of the things that I realized over time is I never knew how difficult it was for my all my cameramen back in the day, right? I'm talking 20, 25 years, even, yeah, 20 years, almost 20 years, 18, 20 years. I'm talking about all the T-Bows of this world, right? My cameraman back in Budapest in the day. I'm talking about my cameraman back in the days of Yellow Family Game Show of MTN back in the day. I'm talking about people that would be there before I come on set and to do my thing. And I never knew how difficult it was. Not only the cameraman, even the sound guys, the graphicians, and all that it entails to bring out a good quality production. And I want to say thank you so very much. If I didn't see that back in the day, I say thank you right now. And hopefully you can hear me from anywhere you are. It's not only T-Bow. There's so many people, right? That's the name that came to my mind. And we do this each and every time. We're starting this way this morning. And one of the things that I realize is that music coming in out of Africa is basically not, we might think everybody knows about it, but there are people who pave the way for this enjoyment of ours these days. Things that we are enjoying now, things that we think we are privy to exhibiting to the world. But there are people who started it, and not only the people that started it. And when we talk about people starting the musical journey of that continent itself, it's not just about the 1960s. It's not about the 1950s. People have been doing music since the 18s and the 17s and even the 16s as well. Maybe that wasn't recorded, but in as much as we have the documented ones, we still want to just, appreciate the people that paved the way for what a lot of people are enjoying this day. One of those people happened to be this man, God rest his soul. He saw, I believe he conquered. That's right. He was one of those people that wanted to push Africa by all means, and he pushed it in his own way. And I would only but just thank God for him gracing this planet and having to be a part of the journey, whether you like it or not, whether you want to affirm this particular statement of mine. I would say this person about playing you a song really did his own, calling. He came, he saw, and I believe he conquered. And on Cradle Radio, what we do is playing a whole lot of music and a whole lot of educational materials. And plus, this is a live stream that we do. We just want to showcase this part of the journey to the people outside. So it doesn't just look like it's generic in a way that, oh, yeah, music has been played and all that. We want to bring you into the studios for you to see what's happening in there. And one of the ways that we want to do it is having to come on Mondays and Fridays. Initially, when we started, we were like, all 5 days. But there are other things as well. So we've segmentized that into a 2-day operation in terms of live streaming. So when we're live streaming, basically we're live streaming right now on YouTube, on Facebook. Oh, no, we're not on Facebook, streaming on Facebook yet, but we're on Instagram, we're on Twitch. Now, get into that Facebook aspect of it. All right, we need a certain number of people to be a follower of the page Cradle Radio on Facebook to be able to do the same like we're doing on YouTube, like we're doing on Instagram, like we're doing on Twitch. We want to do it on that platform, Facebook, as well. So we really appreciate the people that have been following the Cradle Radio page on Facebook. We still need more. So, follow us on Facebook, and that way, and we get that certain amount of numbers, and we can go live as well. Of course, we always post all the live streams on Facebook or readily. But one of the things that I would want to have is to have it being going live like it's being done on YouTube, like it's being done on other portals as well. And if we can achieve that, then we can move to other places as well. And also, what else? I'm going to hit you with this one. Now, this song, if you're listening on www.creatorradio.com right now, you will be listening to the song of a man called Majek Fashak. All right, Majek is one person that's dear to my heart. And I forget, whatever you read about him in terms of the journey of his life. That was his own journey. But Majek left us things in this world that cannot be overwritten by anybody. So I'm going to start my day with Majek Fashak and a track called So Long. I love this song. I really love it. And I hope you're going to like it too. We start this way this morning and we'll get to the news after that. Enjoy this. I'll be right back.
Arise from your sleep, Africa. Rise from your sleep, America. There's work to be done, Africa. There's work to be done, America. If we unite, we will be free. So long, feel too long, so long, for too long. Hey, we've been sitting down for so long. We've been fooling around for too long. We've been sitting down for so long. I can been fooling around for too long. So long, for too long, so long, too long. Hey, oh Lord, can you hear me now? Oh Lord, remember, long time ago, when we used to live like prince and princess. Remember the pyramid of Egypt, when we used to live like prince and princess. Remember, Marcus Garvey, who are the dream for New Africa. Remember, Martin Luther King, who are the dream for New America. They say you are black, they say you are brown, they say them white, they say you are brown. But only the angels of God is white now. Only the angels of God is white. So long, too long, so long, feel too long. Say, we've been sitting down for so long. We've been fooling around for too long. Arise from your sleep, Africa. Arise from your sleep, America. Yes, work to be done, Africa. Yes, work to be done, America. If we unite, we will be free. So long, feel too long, so long, feel too long. Remember, Marcus Garvey, who are the dream for New Africa. Remember, Martin Luther King, who are the dream for New America. Remember, King Selassie, who was betrayed by his people. Remember, for Jesus Christ, who died for you and I to get salvation. They say you are black, they say you are brown, But only the angels of God is white now. Only the angels of Jah is white. So long, been too long. So long, been too long, too long. We've been sitting down for so long. We've been fooling around for too long. We've been sitting down for so long. I and I been fooling around for too long. So long, too long, too long, 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 so long, too long, so long, too long.
Well, the track called So Long. So long, but too long. So long. It's prophetic in a way. It's prophetic in all its ways, in all its terms, and its splendor. I love listening to that track. I can never get tired of listening to it. So if you just listen to it for the very first time, go listen to it all over again. It's called So Long by Majek Fashek. One of, I'll call him a prophet out of Africa, and that left us too soon. It came before his time, but he came so, and I believe he conquered. One of the things that I love about Majek's song is the elements that he wears when he's playing or when he's on stage. He's a different kind of person. It's a different personality as well. All right, we'll just jump into this real quick this morning because normally we really don't have enough time, especially on the live streams. So if you're watching us on YouTube now or on Instagram, and how do you get to be a part of this? All you got to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on Instagram and on Twitch if you can. And most importantly, we're trying to just break into that Facebook live stream as well. So kindly follow us on the Cradle Radio page on Facebook, and that way we could be here. You could be a part of this, and you could always drop your view and whatever you have in mind while we're doing our live shows as well. It's gonna be complex, but it's gonna be all right. And we jump into the news this morning, and let's see what we have in here. Now, this is going to be exciting. It's really going to be really exciting. I know that for sure because a lot of people, when you say mosquitoes, they don't definitely understand what mosquitoes are. People will probably think it's just something about you. I'm just going to just bring this down a little bit so we'll be on the same page. Okay, so when you say mosquitoes, it's like, oh, that thing that bites you in the summertime. And and you would just but listen and ask yourself, is it just something that bites in the summertime that you could use insect or mosquito repellents on? And eventually it just bites. There's nothing attached to it. But that's wrong. In some parts of the world, it's definitely deadly. That's right. There's something called mosquitoes. And there's something that it comes around with in some parts of the world. It's called malaria. All right. If you had malaria, then definitely you must have lived in Africa, as the case may be, or in some tropical part of the world where malaria is prevalent. And that way you must have felt it. People like us who grew up in Africa, I said malaria is no fun, right? 1 minute you're shivering, the next minute you're probably, some people will start puking and vomiting and all that. It's so unpleasant. But here we are. That's in a lab or somewhere in England or London, as the case may be. It says genetic modification of mosquitoes, a potential breakthrough in the fight against malaria. All right, I'll tell you my summation about it after reading you what the news article says itself. All right, he says, malaria remains one of the deadliest diseases in the world, with nearly 600,000 deaths recorded in 2023, the vast majority occurring in Africa. To combat this ongoing crisis, scientists at Imperial College in London are developing a revolutionary genetic modification that could render malaria transmitting mosquitoes incapable of spreading the disease. At an infectious disease laboratory in London, researchers are working in an insectarium filled with cages of mosquitoes, specifically the female Anopheles species that transmits Plasmodium falciparum, a parasite responsible for malaria. The team at Imperial College London is part of the international research group Transmission Zero, which is pioneering a genetic intervention aimed at making mosquitoes resistant to the parasite. These are exogenous genes that they bring into the mosquitoes. They are known antimicrobial molecules from other species. For example, one of them they're using is from the honeybee. They need this modification to propagate and spread so that every malaria transmitting mosquitoes in Africa will eventually carry this. This is being explained by Dr. Nikolai Wynn-Berkeley, a geneticist at Imperial College in London. Before this technology can be developed in the field, extensive testing and validation are required. They have to prove in the lab that it works and that it works the way they want it to work. Well, then they have to prove that it is safe, that it doesn't cause any additional or unintentional harm to people or the environment. It must also be accepted by communities and regulators before they can test it in the field, says Professor George Christofidis, who leads the laboratory at Imperial College. The World Health Organization has endorsed 2 malaria vaccines that have been proven safe and effective in preventing the disease in children. However, malaria remains a persistent public health challenge, requiring multiple approaches to curb its transmission. Other genetic modifications have been explored, such as engineering mosquitoes to provide non-biting males, though these alterations typically fade after a few generations. If successful, the genetic modification developed by the Transmission Zero team could provide a long-term solution by ensuring that future generations of mosquitoes are incapable of transmitting malaria. One of the things that I love about being a journalist is the fact that we need to balance stories, right? You got to do your investigation. You have to get to having the pros and cons of whatever topical discussions that you want to talk about. Now, this morning, if you're just joining us, we just up ahead on the show called Feel Good with Akinloye on Cradle Radio. And one of the things that we've started with this morning is about malaria, mosquitoes, basically. All right, mosquitoes. I think basically we need to get into the know of things about the ecosystem. The ecosystem, because the world itself as a way, the creator of the world, all right? I know a lot of scientists might say, you know what? The world formed itself, and they have their own, definition of, the Big Bang Theory, where, and I beg to differ because I believe that this is a design, our existence and cohabiting with all the organisms and creatures and all the living beings and non-living as well. It's a design. So that's for another day. But I want to know about the usefulness of mosquitoes in this world, because the people in the lab, they're quick to just, bring out communiques and say they want to do this, they want to do that. In a nutshell, man starts playing God. That's for that. But with my understanding, I dug a little deeper. I wanted to know what mosquitoes actually, what their involvement is in the ecosystem. And I came up with quite a few things, right? The ecological functions of mosquitoes. The mosquito larvae, which lives in the water, are a food source for fish, frogs, dragonflies, and other aquatic organisms. So I'm not saying the lab is taking out mosquitoes, right? But what about the nutrients involved in this type of mosquitoes for that ecological system? And now, the adult mosquitoes are prey for bats, birds, including hummingbirds, spiders, dragonflies, and other insect-eating animals or organisms. All right. So, but if we start uh, genetically modifying mosquitoes, how is it going to affect the ecosystem? You know what? A lot of people going to question me this morning saying, what about 600,000 deaths in a year? This and that and this. What happened to the fact that we can come up with medication that could avert that in the morning hour? My name is Akinloye, all right? Well, I'm still going to tell you about this. Now, they say biomass transfer. Mosquitoes transfer biomass, material weight from aquatic to terrestrial ecosystems, where they fly away from their larval habitats as adults. And most importantly, pollination. All right. Nectar consumptions. Male mosquitoes, in particular, feed on nectar. And in doing so, they're inadvertently transferring pollen from one flower to another, contributing to plant reproduction. All right, the importance of this. While bees are often considered the primary pollinators, mosquitoes, along with other insects, also contribute to the pollination process. Nutrient cycling, decomposition. All right, mosquito larvae consumes microorganisms and decaying plant material, and the nutrients released during the decomposition process enrich the water, benefiting aquatic plants and the entire food web. Now, what's my point in here this morning? Whatever we do, because that's on the top of the ladder of the ecosystem, we love playing God a lot. We love playing God, but eventually we'll realize that some of the things that we want to just venture into, in as much as it looks like it's helpful to humans, it definitely might not be helpful to the ecosystem. And this is what we need to just consider in all our actions. We seem to think that we have something that is a breakthrough in the existence of humans. But sometimes we got to understand something real good. The Creator created this elements of life, of cycle of life, for a reason. And only if we can understand that, then maybe we can understand life as it is as well. Why can't we find, I mean, I know the WHO has already found 2 vaccines that can allow for the malaria infections to be reduced or even curbed. Why can't we work on that? Why do we want to modify mosquitoes? I read 2-3 years back about a billionaire who wanted to genetically modify mosquitoes in a way that there will be what's that word he used? That it said there would be important mosquitoes. You so reach the point that you want to create mosquitoes that could not lay eggs or even get to generate stuff. And it was just so complex in my mind. And I said to myself, we need to stop playing God. We need to, breakthroughs are not godlike. Like you want to just change things. And why is it that? Because there are mosquitoes in other parts of the world as well. And is it the malaria, the Anopheles mosquitoes that people want to target, or labs want to target? Or is it that mosquitoes in general? Because in summertime, I get bitten by mosquitoes where I'm living. And trust me, the is it proboscis? Those things that they sting you with, it hurts even way worse than that of Africa. Maybe it doesn't give me malaria. Maybe it doesn't do things to me. It's just trying to have a piece of me. But the reality is this. Why is it that we want to genetically modify mosquitoes in Africa? Is it because of malaria, or is it because we want to play God in the morning hour? This is Cradle Radio. And while I was doing this, when I was reading this article, what readily came to my mind also is a song that I heard way back. And this song was done by, it was done by one of a part of a, he's a part of a group that I love so much. I still love them in a way, if they release an album, and hopefully they might reconsider releasing an album after a set time. But this group that I'm about playing you songs from, this group really did wonders back in the day. They're one of the pioneers of Afrobeat music. And I remember there was a time I had a show back in my college days in Ibadan, and I had a show called Choices. That was, I think, the first TV show that was hosted in a hall at the Polytechnic Ibadan back in the day. And I'm talking, how many years back now? Over 25 years. Yeah, it was right next to where the rector's office is. There was that hole in there. I had a great time. So Big Bemo, who's happened to be a producer for Maintain back in the day, brought the other part of Maintain into my hall, and we had a great time. But to cut a long story short, Olu Maintain sang a song that's really, really synonymous to mosquitoes. So if you've been bitten by mosquitoes in Africa, you'll definitely know this song. And if you've had that uh, feeling it, having fever and all that, you'll be able to relate with this song. I'll play you this one. I'll be right back after that. All right. Don't go nowhere. Stay with me. This is Cradle Radio's Feel Good with Akinloye in the morning. Have a piece of this. I'll be back.
Let's roll.
The home of all things African. This is Cradle. This is Cradle Radio. The home of all things.
Oh my God. And that's a Lumen team right there doing and representing for you. A track called Eco, that font. That font in Yoruba lingua means mosquitoes. That's right. And from mosquitoes, we get it on into something totally different. And this time around, we'll be going to a familiar spot in the morning. And one of the things that I realized over time is my need to continually talk about this as it happens, because it seems nobody, is keeping a hoot about what's happening in our part of the world. So my go-to that I want to really talk about this morning, it's an article that I'm going to read out to you. Most importantly, it's an article that would affect millions of people. And when I say millions of people, I'm talking about the people in that part of the world, as the case may be. And when you look at things happening in this particular location that I'm about talking about, it's not having to re-emphasize and talk about it each and every day. I know probably might not stop what's happening in there, but it would draw people's consciousness to what's going on around that part of the world, and most especially when it's getting really, really bad. All right, let's get to this one. All right, I look at it and I shake my head every time, right? Because I continually say, if we want the whole world to take us seriously, we better start taking ourselves seriously as well. If we don't do that, then obviously nobody's just going to take us serious. And I read this earlier in the morning, and I was dumbfounded. I was dumbfounded. The headline reads: Southern African countries to pull troops out of Eastern Congo. You know what's happening in the Eastern Congo, don't you? All right, if you do, definitely you would uh, understand what's really going on in that Eastern Congo, Eastern Congo, and in Congo in general. But the headline reads, and I flew with this one: the Southern African Development Community (SADC) has announced the end of its military mission in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC), following the loss of at least a dozen soldiers in January. After a virtual summit, SADC confirmed a phased withdrawal of its troops who had been deployed in December of 2023 to assist the DRC in restoring peace amid long-standing conflicts. South Africa, the largest contributor to the mission, lost 14 soldiers, while three Malawian troops were also killed. The M23 rebel group is taking control of key cities such as Goma and Bukavu, leaving many soldiers trapped in their bases, prompting calls in South Africa for a full withdrawal. The summit coincided with Angola's announcement of peace talks between the DRC and the M23, scheduled to begin on March 18 in Luanda. SADC chairperson and Zimbabwean President Emerson Mnangagwa emphasized the urgency of dialogue to prevent further instability in the region. The talks come amid allegations that Rwanda has supported M23 fighters. Though Rwanda denies the claim, the DRC government reports that the group's offensive has caused over 7,000 deaths since January. The M23 is the most prominent of more than 100 armed groups vying for control of Eastern Congo's trillions of dollars in mineral wealth that's critical for much of the world's technology. The rebels are supported by about 4,000 troops from neighboring Rwanda. according to UN experts. The decades-long fighting has displaced more than 6 million people in the region, creating the world's largest humanitarian crisis. Ooh, it's lengthy. It's lengthy. What can I say? What can I say? If we want the world to see us as serious beings, and I'm talking about out of Africa this morning, we need to take ourselves serious, right? We definitely need to take ourselves serious. And I look at this, I look at it from a point of being serious about the continent itself. And when South Africa decides to pull out, South African countries, not South Africa, the nation now. I'm just talking about Southern African countries. When they decide to pull out because of 14 soldiers, that they've lost, 14 soldiers. I don't want to. This is a really serious topical issue. And if you pull out because of 14 soldiers and you want to leave them to their fate, but here you are, you sending soldiers. I know those are soldiers that you send out, for instance, for humanitarian crisis across the world. But 14 soldiers, and then you want to pull out because of that. I mean, that leaves, it leaves a lot of back and forth reasoning in terms of having to ask yourself the question: what how many soldiers would you not want to lose to stay in there? And are you really, getting to put your foot on the ground and intensifying effort to a long-lasting, peaceful solution in that part of the world? Because if as Africans, if you cannot call each other to halt all this dastardly act that's going on in this is where I draw the attention of what's happening to the African Union. That's right. What's happening to the African Union? Okay, the African Union is not. I've not seen them talk about or even sending or having a unified force that can go in there to at least get their presence known in that part of the world. You don't have to need the EU or the Americans of this world or even the Russians to come and help you out in this kind of stuff that you can do yourselves. Sometimes you look at it and you shake your head. And what's really going on? What's happening to these people? What's happening to the people that are meant to just embrace the nationalistic, uh, s- uh, nationalistic uh, love of Africa? Then having the unison that this so-called continent should exhibit or showcase. We can't even have none of that. But then, after 14 soldiers, you know, God rest his soul too. I'm not a soldier, so I can just say, oh, this is what should be done, what should have been done, or what needs to be done. But we'll say, God rest his soul. But they're soldiers. They know what they're in for. These are soldiers. Well, 14 soldiers, and you withdraw your troops. And those troops could probably just be the reason why even the rebels might say, okay, you know what? There's soldiers in that part of the side, or that location. We're not going there. And might deter them from invading a location because of the presence of the soldiers in there. Once you withdraw that or lose, right? You gotta take yourself seriously. You gotta take yourself seriously. My name is Akinloye, and this is Feel Good with Akinloye on Creative Radio. How do you get to listen to this? If you're not joining us on our live stream, then you can go to creatorradio.com, and it's live all over the world. Wherever you are, you will be able to listen to it. All right. We've got feeds coming from different parts of the world as well. I'm gonna jump into this one real quick because I know time is far spent already. And with this one, this is another thing that's not just gonna draw my eeriness this morning. I'm just gonna just drop this one by, and I'll let you just judge this one by yourself. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. I'm just like draw your attention to what's happening in some places out of Africa. Check this one out real quick. EU pledges 4.7 billion investment in South Africa at landmark summit. I'll read out to you again so probably you can understand what's at play here. EU pledges, that's the European Union, pledges 4.7 billion investments in South Africa, a landmark summit. And when I'm looking at this picture, I'm seeing, is that Ramaphosa, right? Busy beaming with smile because of 4 billion euros. And next to him, I see, what's this again? Is it all right, that lady that heads the EU. All right, let's get into the news. We'll give some nations afterwards. The European Union has announced 4.7 billion investment package, 4.7 billion euros investment package for South Africa to support green energy and vaccine production, marking a significant step in strengthening economic and political ties. The commitment was made during the first bilateral summit between the EU and South Africa in 7 years, held at President Cyril Ramaphosa's office in Cape Town. It's amazing because all of a sudden the EU came to Cape Town. All right, I'll just continue with this one before even breaching it, so we have a feel of what we're talking about this morning. All right, and it says, speaking at the summit, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen drew parallels between the histories of the EU and South Africa. Both of them emerged from conflict and found a path to peace through reconciliation. South Africa remains an emblem of hope for the world. Von der Leyen stated today, she said, they are together announcing an investment package to mobilize 4.7 billion euros in South Africa. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa echoed his sentiments, emphasizing the importance of collaboration in upholding shared values. This is a time to work together, he says, in defense of what he believes in, which is democracy, the rule of law, including the respect for international law and international humanitarian law. So says Ramaphosa, strengthening a trade and energy cooperation. The EU and South Africa already share a strong trade relationship, with the bloc being South Africa's largest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa. Von der Leyen reiterated Europe's commitments to expanding trade ties. She wants to strengthen and diversify their supply chain, but they also want to do is in cooperation. She emphasized, calling South Africa a reliable partner known for stability and predictability. And that's where I'm going to just, clip that one this morning. Predictability. And my favorite phrase this morning is, in the words of Lacan, beware of the Greek and their gift. Beware of the Greek and their gift. Predictability. Yeah, that's why I love that phrase and that predictability. Well, isn't South Africa a part of BRICS? And what does it take to have 4.7 billion? All right, let's trash it out this way. What does it take to have 4.7 billion euro? I'm not even saying dollars. I'm saying 4.7 billion. And to mobilize what? And to do what? Because now, if you look at the frame I'm looking at right now, I'm not being biased in any way. It's just my perception. And am I wrong? Now look at von der Leyen, right? I put in a smile. Ramaphosa beaming with smile. Yeah, 4.7 billion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, and and my thing is this: is it for is it vaccine production? All right, and what else? Is the EU trying to take the position that the US left behind, or what? It's just I'm naive, right? I'm just trying to just ask questions. I'm not being biased in any way. So all of a sudden, the EU suddenly just loves Africa to the point that it's allocating an investment package to mobilize 4.7 billion. Do you want to tell me South Africa doesn't have 4.7 billion euros to set aside for those kind of stuff? I'm just curious, people. Just curious in the morning. And that's why I keep saying, if you want people to take you serious, you need to start acting serious yourself. Because look at a president of a nation, he's beaming with smiles right now for 4.7 billion euro. Whereas on his own soil, he's sitting on over 100 trillion euros or even pounds or even dollars in mineral resources. Well, you smiling at 4.7 billion euros in visible cash. But what you have in your country is over hundreds of trillions of euros. I'm just curious. I don't want to go heavy on you guys this morning, but it's just sometimes we're not going to stop at talking about Africa. Obviously, probably this is going to draw the attention of the people and the consciousness of their fact to the realization of having to do things themselves, right? Stop begging for arms, stop begging for packages, right? You got to generate your funds in between yourselves. That's just my thinking. And am I wrong? Who knows? Yeah, that's part of the reason why I love this medium, radio, TV, and all that. And don't forget, follow us on Facebook. This is a Cradle Radio page, and we'll cool be talking. And I still have, I think I have a little bit of time for one more news item this morning, and from there we head back into the Cradle Radio studios, and live transmission continues there with early morning. Yes, especially it's a Friday, so we'll get to the bottom of all of it and all that. All right. Or what should we do? Okay, if we have one more news item, probably it's going to eat into time. Now, that's what my producer says. Anyways, I just abide by the rules. Well, there's need for a consensus um, realization, if there's a word that aligns like realization of you being able to do stuff yourself, realization of you being smart enough to look around and say, enough of having the bag. How come a prince or a king begs for his own kingdom when obviously your kingdom is much richer than the people you're begging from? You understand my point? You understand my point? All right. This is that's why I started with the music of Majek Fashek earlier on, and I said so long. Obviously, maybe eventually we could open our eyes to the realization of how it is, and what needs to be done, and what really has to be done. It's not just about putting people in office that are just like yes sir, yes ma'am kind of people. It's about opening our eyes to the potentials that are minds in our environment, in the places that we live in expectations, even partner countries that want to partner with us. How would they take us serious? Or basically, what are the reasons for giving 4.7 or 4.5 billion euros in aid packages or otherwise? What are those things that you expected to give back? And in the words of Lacour, beware of the Greek and their gift. I played a song the other time, and that song was by this man. And one of those songs that happen to be some of my favorites. And it doesn't necessarily have to be some things that you probably listen to in the morning, especially when I want to do feel good with Akinloye. In the morning, I just play my own kind of selection, things that can just make my 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 mind and my reasoning all into one. It can just put it all together, and that way I can just be there, just be myself. I'm gonna leave you with this one. What time we at? Okay, we're about leaving that. Anyways, it's been a pleasure doing this. I'll quickly recap on things that we are expecting all our listeners to do for us. Kindly subscribe to or follow us on Facebook. Right, we've seen the exponential growth that we've had over time. We still need more numbers. Follow us on Cradle Radio. That's on Facebook. Kindly subscribe to us on YouTube. That's on at Cradle Radio as well. Our Instagram page is open as well. And what else we have? We have a TikTok. All right, follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on LinkedIn and all social media platforms that's got Cradle Radio in it. And we can just make history with this. We can make things that would make incoming generations know that we played our own part in drawing attention to how beautiful Africa is, how sensible Africa is, and how Africa can or will, because back, let's say in 25, 50 years, it's like a time capsule. People can relate back and say, oh, those generations did their bit. And that's what we're all trying to get to eventually. And not just about music. We're more than just music, right? I'm not your regular entertainer. I'm not the guy that makes you laugh all the time. I'm not your clown. Most importantly, I have a say. I have a mouth. I have things that I need to say and need to just showcase to the world as well that makes me rank side by side with people all at. All right, Ethering. This is how I'm going to leave you to that. And I love doing this. And on Monday morning, we'll be here again. Don't forget, we'll be having this live sessions, this live transmissions, this live streaming on Mondays and Fridays. And if you are subscribed to us, you will be a part of it. And you can even drop your comments by then. I'm gonna leave you with this one by Side Autumn. Where are the prophets? I played this song. I broke it, I think, this week. Here's it again. And I'll say goodbye this way. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Play safe. And just draw your attention to the reasoning of everybody around you. Make the world a better place for us.